Good evening. How are we doing?
How are you?
Yeah. Good. Recovering from the weekend, of course. How about yourself?
Have you been in? So just turn your head again. Let me just look at your neck. You look like you've been in some. Good Lord! Wow,
Good. That
I can't even joke about that. That looks painful.
it's warm, although it's not actually
Wow.
painful. I think it's just it's just a few weeks in the making.
Good old bit of Blackpool dirt.
Yeah, and beautiful sunshine.
Marvelous. Yes.
So
Yes.
I think we're back on the driver's briefing
Again? It can't be. I deleted down everything that was known to man. So that's a freaky bug if that's the case.
Yeah, we're back on driver's briefing for the Dirt GP.
I don't know how to fix it then.
I don't know what's going on with it. A few people have gone onto it, and Kev has messaged the group saying it's a different link again. Yeah, don't know what's going on there. Bloody thing.
No, I don't. I double and triple checked to make sure there was no ghosts anywhere. So, well, apologies for that. And the few people that are finding us, I'm very sorry that very sorry we're not on our scheduled link again. We'll probably just give up doing the scheduled link and we'll just go live because then we won't have that. We won't have that, which is a bit of a shame. But yes, Mr. Simpson, our YouTube stream is challenging us. There's a ghost link somewhere that we cannot find, and the little bit of software that we use seems to find it and default onto it, but we can't. But there we go. Anyway, well, thank you for joining us. The guys that are now, we were just doing our good afternoon stroke evenings and checking out Leroy's sunburnt neck. So you hadn't missed anything. We hadn't even got as far as the beer review yet. So,
well, the review's the same as last week currently.
Oh,
which I can open now.
Can you remember what you said last week? Let's see if we've got consistency.
Well, let's have a little try. It's the Rockshore Irish Lager again. Refreshing. Still refreshing. Nice and light. 4% alcohol in this one. So we can drink a few cans without having a headache.
Awesome. So you get drinking away. I drunk all of my Father's Day nice tour of England beers. So I'm back on my Peroni or red wine or coffee or Pepsi or a variety of things lined up. You know,
cough medicine.
You know how I roll by now. I've still got this pesky cough, which is getting a bit annoying.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's just
it doesn't win many friends.
Everyone.
Yes. So how was your journey back down then? It was only but yesterday we were full of disappointment from our first national, which we'll crack into a little bit later on in well, disappointing in some ways and fantastic in others, because I think we had a great weekend despite some challenges that we had. But yes, your journey back down was okay. You didn't take you 30 hours or something crazy.
No, it was all right. There was a bit of traffic. Probably everyone hit it at the end of the first motorway we got on, 54 or something like that, whatever it was. But yeah. Apart from that, went down. Absolutely lashed down as soon as I got close to home.
Did it?
Like you couldn't see lash down.
Right.
Yeah, it was bad. As bad as I've seen for a very, very long time. So, yeah, we made it home. Had a Japanese token Sunday night Japanese.
Wow.
And yeah, all was good. All was good. I got home about 9:30ish in the end, I think.
Nice. We had a token Burger King. I think the boys had Mr. Shorey. Big shout out to Shorey for helping us as ever. He's an absolute legend. So thank you, Mike. If you're watching this, you're probably doing nights or something. So not, but yeah, thank you once again. So should we do some shout outs from the side? If anyone's saying hello, buddy, and then we can crack on.
Yeah, let's do that. We've got 48 watching currently, because some of them are probably still finding the feed or watching football. Martin Waters, he was the first one to see the change in feed, I'm sure. He gives us a thumbs up and a little face. Chris James online, just me tonight. Maliki is off seeing Russell Howard.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Neil Thompson says, lads, it's not set up on a stream of the show for the dirt. Yeah, we know. Davey Rolls says, evening, guys. How's it going?
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Davey boy.
Martin Hart is online. He said, hello.
I was speaking to Action Man, but just a few moments ago. So hopefully he's going to come and visit us on Friday. Come up to the track, which would be great to see him. We've not seen him for a few weeks.
Cool. Manny Panasar. He says, hey, you guys.
Hey, man.
Why have we gone all northern on him?
I don't know. Losing my voice as well.
Cakes by Claire says, evening, gentlemen. Great weekend with everyone.
It was a great weekend. I didn't get to see Claire very much. It was quite a busy one with a lot of. I think we had 20 odd cars, I think, running in there, which was great to see. So yeah, it was good to see you when I did. And we missed your cakes. You should do mobile cakes when we come to these nationals.
Should, definitely should. Chris James says you're not on the published one. Yeah, we know. And then we see Tim's already said we got YouTube issues, but Sarah Campbell is online. She says, evening from Sarah and Craig.
Good evening, good evening. It was good to see both those guys there at the weekend.
It was.
Sarah, you need to get some nationals. You need to get, step up into the nationals soon, I think. But good to see you there supporting your other half as well.
Yeah, Sarah helped me out because I didn't get relieved once marshalling, and she made sure to go and tell Suzanne that I was in the corner waving away. I didn't want to be there. Actually, I had quite a bit of change on my car that I wanted to try. So actually, I did want to leave that time. Normally, I wouldn't care too much.
No, you're normally quite good. You're not one of the prima donna pros that can't do more than one stint.
No,
I would definitely agree.
Exactly. And Craig messaged me back. Craig, I'm waiting on you, bro. Ben Kennett, he's online and says, evening.
Good evening, Ben. Good evening. You were missed at the weekend. You need to get yourself into the nationals, buddy. I think you do very well.
He was definitely missed. He is going to Kent this weekend to do some e-buggy. Actually, truggy, we should say.
Good. We will be there, and we'll cover that one again in a little while. But yeah, we will be there.
Matthew Stenhouse, he's online. He says, "Good evening, guys. Evening, Matthew."
Good evening, Mr. Stenhouse. I hope you had a good first national. I didn't get to see you very much, other than wave at you as you were leaving. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know they were there until I saw Vic watching one of the heats. I was like, "Oh, hi," and then saw on that very briefly. I didn't even see Caden all weekend. Glenn Downer says, you must call Lee Sebastian for the rest of the night.
Sebastian the Lobster?
Maybe. You are a SpongeBob hero. Is that where it's from? Is that what it was from? I don't know. Darren Warburton is online. He says hello.
Dazzling, you missed one good thing, which was the carvery.
He did miss the carvery. Steve Spencer is online. This evening. Oh, what funny national that turned out to be, with some kind of gold.
It did. We'll definitely we'll delve into that next as a national, but it definitely was a funny one.
Arvinder says, evening, chaps. Nice tan. Cheers, bro.
Good evening, Arvinder.
Craig Homer, home by RC, said, evening, guys. Locked and loaded with you for the weekly dose of Neoism.
Nice. Like it.
Glenn Downer, redder than an inflamed hemorrhoid.
Wow. That's a review right there.
Mark Francis Jones. Did you know Mark's middle name is Francis?
I didn't, but I do now.
He says, hola. He says, CJ, sorry for the bum idol. Oh, so Mark told me the story. Did he tell you?
He did, yeah.
So for anyone out watching, Mark went for a midnight, but it was 3 a.m, toilet break while in the hotel at the weekend, and he accidentally bum-dialed CJ while he was on his toilet break at 3 a.m, to which CJ answered, very concerned for Mark's safety, but he was all good.
He's a good egg, as Rumble would say, CJ, for taking that call at 3 a.m. I think most people probably wouldn't do that.
My phone would have been on Do Not Disturb, and you'd have had no chance. Claire says she's definitely down for doing mobile cakes. That's good.
Nice.
Paul Williams says, evening, guys. Hope everyone is well. We hope you are too, Paul.
Yes, we do.
Marcus Butler is online. He says, what's up, fellas? What's up, bro?
What's up, buddy?
Kev Brunson, he's online. He says, good evening. He's obviously not with Claire.
I tell you what, Kev, talking about bum dials, Kev was bum steered at the weekend by our infamous referee, but we'll cover that a little bit later as well. He was very unfortunate at the weekend, I think.
He was. Yaz is online. He says, "Evening, guys."
Good evening, Yaz. The only way is up.
Ivan,
and Rumble is enjoying his new shoes.
Ivan is online. He says, "Hi, boys."
Ivan, we're back from walking the dogs. We haven't heard about the dogs. Yeah. Give us an update on dogs.
Or the turkey.
And we haven't done a new body show yet.
No.
But there will be one day.
And Jane Hammer is online. She says, "Evening, Lyndon and Jane." I think that's probably meant to be evening from Lyndon and Jane, but we'll go with evening, Lyndon and Jane. I'll be Lyndon.
Yes. Okay, that's perfect. And I'll be Jane. But I tell you what, those two, I love those two. They were up at Blackpool. I think they're still at Blackpool, actually. They were staying up for a week.
Nice.
Which is a fairly sensible thing to do. We travel all the way up that part of the world, and I'm definitely going to try and do that next time, I think, because I think that would be a nice wind down. Rather than rushing back from such a long distance away. So good weekend. Don's definitely progressing as well. Since he's got his 319P and his 225, he's definitely moving in the right direction with his racing, which is cool to see.
Yeah, legends. I love him too. Jane made me a lovely bacon sandwich one morning, and Don even helped me out with some marshalling in a semi warm-up. So legends, the both of them.
Indeed. I thought you were going to say he helped you out eating it. I had visions of Don just putting a sandwich in your mouth.
Well, it probably will happen at some point. Spillers is also online. He says, "Evening all, great weekend at the first round of this year's Nationals. Shame we didn't get anyone in the main, but some very good drives from some of our up-and-coming stars, which we will talk about very, very soon."
Definitely so. Good job, Svenners. Good job.
So we're pretty much caught up on the old comments. There's one from Steve saying that Kev was robbed, which we will talk about.
Robbed. By the time you do the shell, I'll be dead, Ivan said.
But yeah,
don't die, Ivan. I don't know whether that means that you're terminally ill or we're going to take a long time doing the body shell. But both of those, let's hope, is not the case.
Yes.
You never know.
I don't know.
I race like reviews.
I don't like the standard.
I like the standard one. It drives well, looks good. It's unique. It's in a Gamma, and yeah, I think we've kind of always had that with our cars. To be fair, they're fairly identifiable on the track. Slightly less so now with the success of the Beta Wing. A lot of the guys, rightfully so, give that a try and find it good. But yeah, once upon a time, it was super easy to spot all our cars, like it is with a truck. And I guess you could say that with a Techno and all those other things that are a bit weird and wonderful at the moment. At least you know what it is when it's going round. At one point, 4 or 5 years ago, they all looked the same, didn't they? When they had generic Proline or JC concept body shells, you didn't actually know what the car was unless it had a sticker on it. But
yeah.
Anyway. Race reviews. So we capped off the first round of the UK Nitro Buggy Championships at the weekend, as I'm sure anyone that's watching this knows. And it was quite some event. I think big anticipation. First national in nearly a year and a half, not quite, but certainly a year and some months with nothing last year. And I think everybody was full of anticipation to finally get going and finally have everybody there, Elliot there. There was nobody missing. We've had some great races during the last year in lockdowns at various venues and stuff. We've been lucky to host some of those, Leroy, as you know, at Nemo Raceway. But this was the first time we've seen absolutely everybody together. So I think it was, full of anticipation going into it. The Blackpool crew had worked hard to give us a good track. It looked like the weather was going to be a factor before the weekend, but it wasn't. It was we got lucky again, didn't we? It was roasting hot, as your testament to from your neck. And so it was a very interesting race into qualifying. From my side, I've got two sides, watching as a fan of what we do, and then obviously as Nemo with the Nemo hat on. As a fan, I think it was probably the most dominant display in qualifying of anybody that I've seen for some time, with Craggy TQing all of the rounds. And I mentioned it on one of our live feeds. It's quite interesting because normally with Neil, as you know, we go around all these years, we go around to tracks, and he doesn't really do much time at those tracks before he rocks up, and he's possibly a little bit off it to start with, and then by the final, he's normally in that podium fix. But in this occasion, he'd done some homework there. He's been doing the club races and obviously been up there with Johnny at all of those winter rounds, or a lot of those winter rounds, and doing very well and winning most of those that I've seen come through, certainly of recent times anyway. and it absolutely showed. His package looked the best on the track. He and his package looked the best on the track, and he obviously TQ'd all the rounds, lined up, blitzed everybody in the semis, lined up on pole, and was cruising off into the distance. And then unfortunately had his craggy fate, which seems all too often for Neil in 8th scale, and broke down. So as a fan, that was cool to see him do that and put some manners on everybody, and then sad to see that not get converted, because I think he probably deserved it. And then for us as Nemo, it was a very, very odd national, probably the weirdest that I can remember, with seemingly great cars, great handling cars through the field, very good performances like Ada alluded to, with juniors and some of our older guys like Simerson doing 3 finals, and Adrian himself doing very well. Juniors, absolutely incredible. First nationals for Ben Simpson and obviously Torben's boys as well, Eric and Holger, resulting in quarterfinals and the semi-final for young Ben. And I think actually Eric looked like he had the pace for that as well. I think you alluded to it in the little report you did, that he was absolutely pushing around that track, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So loads of super positives for us with the Beta brand as well. We were very, very competitive on free ride, which is what I was running to annoy some of the younger guys a little bit earlier on in qualifying. And then it kind of just seemed to move away from us a little bit with tyre, which, you know, you have to put your hands up when you win. You have to smile and be thankful, and when it doesn't work your way, you also have to smile and go, it didn't work our way this time. So I think we were a little bit lost on tyres. We'd clearly had some great results with other drivers at the warm-up race, with a Weapon in the 6 mix, for example, looking very good, and also looking very good on a load of other people's cars that are not in our team too. Hence, you know, good sales of that tyre before we went into the weekend. So I think we went there thinking we knew what we were doing, and relatively quickly, I think we realised that we were a little bit on the back foot in that range, which wasn't to be expected. And we tried to work through that. I think we worked through it well as a team to try and come up with something. Obviously, you were driving almost with one hand behind your back, because you were ill, unfortunately, for the e-buggy and the truck national, so you couldn't do that. And then it just transpired we couldn't get you there to do any practice at all. So the last time you were at that track was 2 years ago, probably. And I think it's, yes, exactly. I think it's it's probably longer than that then. I think it's an indication of, and I think we've got a question on this later on, the incredible competitiveness that we now have in 8th scale in the UK, which is amazing. There's so many good drivers out there that on their day, if their stuff's right, can compete. That if you haven't had the opportunity to do that homework beforehand, it's going to be an uphill struggle, even for somebody like yourself, who's a world-class driver, and you know that's never in doubt for anybody. And you were getting there. I mean, obviously you'd got up to 3rd in your semi as well, so we were going the right way. You can see that in your lap times as well when you start to dig down into the detail of it. Unfortunately, we had a technical issue with yourself, so that put you out from what would have been an easy transfer into the main final. And I'm sure at that point you would have probably figured in that, especially with the way that the race panned out for everybody else as well, because we actually ended up, after a few minutes of a final, having 3 of the UK's top drivers not actually in it to contest it. Obviously, Neil was leading and broke. Elliot broke in the warm-up, and you weren't there in the first place. So really weird national. Obviously, congratulations to the Skidmores for their 1-2 as well. Shouldn't miss that. That's a very, very, very good result, and great for their start to the season. But yeah, from our point of view, it was an odd one. Dust ourselves down and go again. I'm sure we'll learn some things. Interesting track, interesting surface, and I think we're never going to see it again, because I think they've got 800 tons of clay coming in very shortly to make it a fully clay track, which will be awesome. Because I love the layout. The layout of the track's actually really quite awesome to drive, utilising the hill and the dips and swoops. I think it's quite rewarding to drive, isn't it? What did you think? That was my ramble of the national.
Yeah. I mean,
part 1.
Yeah, obviously second, all of that. Yeah, it's a good fun track to drive. There's some bits that I would change, obviously. There's most, I'd change bits on a lot of tracks. But yeah, it was good fun. You say we built our way up to it. I think, we didn't start sparkling, but started okay, and then built our way into the race, as I kind of planned to do, really. it was actually,
Excuse me.
even though qualifying wasn't amazing, I mean, it's fine, it wasn't amazing, but it was better than I qualified the last time I was there, which
Is that right?
is interesting. And then once again in the semi we were looking fine to transfer, and it was feeling pretty good, to be honest. And yeah, just got unlucky with a technical. It happens. It's 8 scale. That's how the penny drops. So but
what is unusual is to see that penny drop for 3 of you top boys at the same time. In recent years, there's been, one of you or 2 of you may fall by the wayside at a race, but it's unusual for 3 of you big guns to actually not be there to factor in it. I was surprised at that, because the stuff's so reliable these days in general across the board, isn't it?
It is. I remember it happened once at Hearts, and it happened in 3 of us. It was myself, Neil, and Darren, I think, and or myself, Neil, and Elliot. I can't remember which one, but anyway, all 3 of us dropped out in the semi, and it was like, okay, and that was round 1 as well. I don't know if that's but
the fate of the round 1.
Yes,
the level was crazy though.
It was so tight, and the small lap really, makes that even tighter ultimately. And then there was a lot of people that had a lot of confidence, like there was some drivers that I could instantly tell had been run track quite a few times. So yeah, it made it tough, but it made it good at the same time, because our juniors did very well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that'll ebb and flow through the season as well as we move through the rounds. And obviously locality is a big thing of that, isn't it? You've obviously got you pro guys are generally fairly well rehearsed at all of the tracks. As I pointed out, you weren't on this occasion, but for everybody else, there's definitely going to be local heroes. We'll have it when people come to Nemo Raceway. We absolutely know it when we go to Westmill. East Shrewsbury is slightly less of an unknown for me personally, but I'm sure we'll see that there, and Brookthorpe too. So hopefully over the course of the year, that fairly boring, he's got a million lap advantage on me rubbish gets evened out across the way, doesn't it? And I think you have to do well at all of the rounds, and the cream comes to the top after not that long, which, as I said with yourself, you were getting there. So I think it's going to be a very cool, interesting season. I think it was sad not to see all of you in there with Johnny and Will and Tommy Hall and those guys that did well as well, just to put everybody into that mix. But I'm sure we'll see that throughout the year at some point anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Funny national. Not deflated massively, just very tired. And yeah, still lots of learning to go on with when we find those conditions again, what we're going to do, which obviously is always part of the racing game. You never stop learning with this hobby, which is its great part and it's also frustrating part in equal measure. It was great when you work it out and frustrating when you don't.
Yeah, I mean, look at our little hobby and then look at F1, who are a massive computers and boffins that can work it out and still struggle at times. So
I always use the same example. I say, those guys are spending millions of pounds to not quite figure it out on a regular basis. Yeah. So, little us turning up is sometimes going to not get it right as well. Our other ponies in the semis, we had Lewis, who was driving fantastic at first national for us too, and thoroughly deserved a place in the final. His finish time from his side of the semi would have been 3rd in the other side of the semi, to put that into context. So I feel really sorry for him, because he drove a great race, just a couple of weird little wobbles that made it, not go through in its own right from his block. But that block was so much quicker than the other side that, he didn't make it in 8th place or wherever it was, which would have been, like I said, 3rd in the other side. That's sometimes you see that, but not to that extent. That's absolutely mental. Good pace. Car looked good on the track. Obviously, Kev was, I keep saying obviously, I need to stop doing that. Kev was in the same semi and had fantastic speed again, as we've been seeing with Kev over the last few months. Really impressive, and had an absolute bum steer by our referee, who thought that he'd hit sloppy, which he hadn't. I'm led to believe. I didn't actually see it myself, but there was a whole host of people from other teams that came over afterwards and said that wasn't the case. But I think from the angle that the referee was looking on that downhill dip at the back, Sloppy came in and rolled there, which is actually quite easy to do on your own if you come in there a little bit hot. I certainly did it myself. It would have looked probably to the referee like Kev had touched him because he was on the inside of him, but hadn't. But that dulcet tone of Rachel, bless her, love her, and all those other things, I think because there was some screaming going on, I think Mark retrospectively decided to put a penalty on there. So I actually don't think he saw it properly. Equally, we had an unsafe release. We did our pit stop with Lewis. This isn't an anti-Mark rant, but you need to be consistent. We did our pit stop with Lewis Jones, got him out quick. Unfortunately for Keith Lewis, he didn't look to see our car coming out, so dumped his lad's car onto ours. We've all been there, we've all done that. We all know that that's an instant unsafe release, and you get a penalty for it. And obviously, I looked up instantly to see Mark watching that unfold and didn't give a penalty for that. And as it transpired, Mike went through and we didn't. Which is disappointing because I personally saw him watch that happen. So I think that needs some review somewhere along the line. It's got to be consistent. If you're going to have a referee, Mark does a great job. So as I said, it's not an anti-Mark. But if you're going to do refereeing, it's got to be with consistency. Same as Formula One. If you release a car from your pit stop and it hits the other person coming out and there is a crash, that is a penalty, unfortunately. I know it's not the driver's fault, but you and your mechanic are as one, and so that should get a penalty.
Yep, agree. So let's move on to brighter things and talk about our junior drivers.
Absolutely incredible. So we touched it earlier on. First nationals for Ben Simpson and Eric and Holger as well, who have just joined us from X-Ray. Delighted to have them. We've got a really good, strong little junior set at Nemo again, which is something, as you know, Leroy, we've always had and brought through from Callum and Jack Embling, even back in the before he came across to yourself when you were doing your Mugen stuff. And then obviously Ollie Curry as well. We won the juniors with that, and then the Skidmores for a long time as well with John and Will. Little Willie. Anyway, so yeah, it's something that's always been something we've tried to bring on. I think it's important for us, particularly as a business as well, that we get behind those guys and really help those dads understand the hobby, because certainly at 8 scale, there's so many facets to it. If you haven't got somebody to really guide you through, it can be quite frustrating, I think. So great to have those guys on board. First nationals for all of those, like we just said, and complete and utter overperforms. Holger bumped up his first final that he's ever done at a national, which is hard work. Anyone that's done nationals know there's nobody in that field that can't drive a model car well. So to actually then be able to be in the top 4 to bump up into the next set is a great achievement in the first place. So massive congratulations to him. I mean, obviously he's very young as well, so incredible futures coming for these guys. I actually don't know the age of Eric. I think he's 11 or 12. I think it's similar age to Ben. 12, yeah. So Ben the same. Directly into the quarterfinals. I mean, that's an achievement. It's hard work. I was there racing myself as well, so I know just how quick everybody is. So brilliant efforts by Eric and Ben in qualifying to put themselves in those positions. I think Ben was in the 8ths and then bumped into the quarters, because I think he was car 13 in his quarter, which means he then came into the quarter.
I think he was straight into the quarter because he was car 13 in the semi. No.
Okay.
No. What? Oh.
Yeah. So because I marshaled.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right.
I marshaled his quarter. I'm pretty sure, because it was the one after mine, and I think he was car 13. So I think he started in the 8th.
Yeah,
bumped into the quarter.
You are right.
To join Eric. Eric was car 9, and the two of them were early on cruising around very well in close succession to each other. And I actually think Eric helped push Ben on. Obviously, the guys are going to be egging each other on as they progress through the ranks and wanting to beat each other, just like yourself and Darren. And there's loads of different scenarios, different examples of that when people are younger. So that was cool to see. And I actually had to just like shout to check. I know you're not supposed to when you're marshalling, but I could see there were some Nemo guys on the right of me, and I was like, "Is Ben now in fourth?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's in fourth now." Because I thought that was the case, but I wanted to, remain calm, and he was, and he bumped through, and made a semi in his first national, and that is awesome. Running all of our stuff, free ride tyres, looked absolutely dialed in his car, as I'd run most of the time. And I regretted not being on for my quarter as well, to be fair, because personally for me, they were easily the best thing that we had there.
Yeah.
Into his first semi-final. And from that point, that's a win, isn't it? It doesn't matter whatever happens then in your semi, that's mega. Unfortunately for Eric, he had the pace to be there with Ben, in my opinion. But he had a bit of a technical as well, so didn't progress through. But still, quarterfinals is a brilliant achievement. There won't be many juniors age 12 on both accounts that have been in a quarterfinal and a semi-final on their very first attempt at a national series that is easily the most competitive that I've ever seen. So brilliant effort to those guys and their dads.
Yeah, absolutely top notch. Yeah, awesome, absolutely awesome.
Bodes well for the future. We'll have to be working very hard to keep hold of those boys so they don't get nicked away.
I know.
We know this game after a few years in it.
I know it's going to be tough, but we'll be there. We'll be there.
We'll do our best. We'll try and show the bosom of Nemo is where you need to be.
Let's do a Durango 10-year contract on them both.
Yeah, yes, exactly. We don't want to do that because Durango then went bust about 6 months later, I think.
Well, they still kept their drivers for 6 months.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So yeah, they were our juniors. We can't say more than that, really. Fantastic. Yep. Lots of positives from all of that. Simerson, Mr. Simo, like I said, he bumped up loads of finals. We had some good shouts all the way through from our drivers, really, to be fair. It was just the top bit that didn't quite work out. But that's racing. As I said earlier on, we'll dust down and we'll be raring to go again, which will be very, very soon because our calendar right now is absolutely wild, trying to support all the series that we do.
Insane.
We're dust off and straight back into it, basically. So that was our national. Anything further you'd like to add? We've got some questions on the side that will come a bit later, which is
I think
national related.
That definitely caps off our weekend's activity. So yeah, let's move on to the next subject.
What else did we have on? We had Polish nationals.
We did.
On for Mr. Orlowski, and he was running second. What happened to?
So he had the drive shaft popped out the outdrive and the back
out. Yes, that was it. Something very odd. Where did he end up finishing?
He finished third still.
Just having a pass through from the boss for some reason.
Well, I thought you was talking to people.
Oh, I am on there. Come and say hello. Long-suffering mother. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, where did he finish? Sorry, bud.
So he finished third still.
Okay, so that was impressive. Good. That's good. When's that going to be?
Now.
Yeah, so very good on that. Still progressing. Second race with us. So, early days. Very difficult track conditions. I've seen his report come in, Ever the Professional, with lots of detail on that. So, very bumpy, wasn't it? Very bumpy, very blown out.
Old school, proper old school.
Old school. But old school is the new school sometimes. So we'll have to keep working away on that and getting him quicker.
That's true. Yeah, we're going to work on some setups and stuff with Mikhail and get him up, beating the Killix, which is what he wants to achieve at his Polish nationals, of course, and we do too.
Yeah, and if he's doing that, then we are absolutely winning because without any shadow of a doubt, those guys are good. We know that they were in the Nemo fold for a long time. Moved off onto Mugen, obviously doing well as well. They seem to take all of our old juniors, which is nice of them, but not hopefully Ben and Holger and Eric will try and keep hold of those guys. So yeah, if he gets there to be beating those guys, but he's doing bloody well, and I'm sure he will because he's got the talent, hasn't he? So
he does.
Got to give him the stuff to how he wants it, and we'll be away. Any other races over the weekend that I've missed? Can't think of instantly.
I can't think of anything major that we feature in. Don't know.
Good. So what's next? normally I come into new product releases, but we haven't got anything new. We do have our P cars back into stock, which is great. The 319 and the 319 electric. So grab one of those while you can. We're going to have a kettle now going on. I'm not massively sure.
Sorry.
You've gone completely rogue on me, Eggy. Completely rogue. Anyway, 68 people. We could do a live watching you boil a kettle if you'd like. Let's do that. So yes, lost my chain of thought. So yeah, P cars back into stock, which is fantastic. Full selection of tyres and all that sort of good stuff, but nothing new this week. I have quite a lot of questions on the side. Do you have questions on the side? Not yet.
Not a massive amount. They're
So shall we run through my questions, and then if anybody's got any questions that's watching that you want us to answer, pop them in the side, and we'll do that at the end like we normally do.
Let me answer Craig Homer's one question just for while we get
Craig
out of the way.
Homer. Every time I hear Craig Homer's name, I've got Craig David in my head. Sorry, it's been like that for years. That's it.
Will I get away with one battery for an e-buggy national? I think you could get away with it, yeah, as long as you keep it up to scratch, keep it straight off onto charge. Ideally, you'd want two, though, I would say.
Yeah, I think one's possibly pushing your luck a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you say, I think you could do it. You could do it on none if you want. Just push it around with them, or pull it with a piece of string. But I think you probably want to.
The hardest.
And if you need one, I don't know whether that's a precursor to Craig entering the e-buggy national at the weekend. If he needs one, I'm sure we've got one somewhere in the midst that we'd be able to help him with if he needs it.
Yeah, for sure we will have. Yeah. So yeah,
good.
Your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to fire into these. There's a few, which is good. The first one is to do with trucks, and it's what upgrades are people using on our A215T? Is it still the alloy rear brace? I'm sorry, I keep coughing, everybody. Alloy rear brace, it's not COVID. And different caster blocks. Pretty much Leroy and my trucks are fairly close to being box stock. Mm-hmm. So we do tend to try and run the alloy rear brace. It just helps a little bit of longevity. It's not really a performance thing. It just helps the rear drive shaft not get bent. So if you've got some huge jumps and you're doing that whole truck thing and sending it completely mental, you can actually get a bit of a bend on the rear drive shaft from the center to the middle, and that brace pretty much eliminates that. So they're out of stock at the minute, but they'll be back shortly. They're on our next order coming in. Get one of those. Alloy caster blocks, again, good products. They're a fit and forget. You can move it from truck to truck and all that sort of stuff. So I would recommend those as two. Past that, it's only really springs and pistons, Leroy, I would say. We don't even really mess about with roll bars on the truck, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, we generally take the front roll bar off.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, run the rear spring. We use springs off the 319 now, so you can just tie in the springs with your current options. We use a little stiffer one on the rear than you would on the 319. We use the black blue, which is slightly stiffer than the black pink. But yeah, apart from that, nothing major. Yeah, she's good to go. I mean, slightly different pistons that we drill out, but yeah.
That's it. Send it, as the cool kids say.
Yeah.
Something like that. Why didn't Rumble finish his ultimate carvery, leaving a single potato roast? Well, we actually need Mr. Rumble to answer that. And as I'm led to believe, he proclaimed to me this 1 gigamillion zillibit internet connection that he was going to have at his new house. And that's actually transpired to he's got no internet whatsoever at his house, not even enough to try and put him into this stream. So, Rumble, if you're watching, we need answers. Why did you leave one single roast potato on your carvery at the weekend when you demolished a plate that could have fed Africa in 1990? So,
but to be fair, if we were in China, that shows that he was happy with the amount of food he had and he doesn't need it.
Is that right?
Yes. So
is that what you do?
If you clear your plate in China, they'll give you another one. Because
sounds like my sort of country after all.
Because you obviously finished it, so you still need more. But if you leave something, that's it. You're done. Wow. I know that doesn't work at Toby Carvery, but
no, learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So we'll have to come back on that question. We can't give you answers to that one right now. Next question: who won the tyre war at the weekend? I'll give you your thoughts.
Well, I think who won the tyre war? Anyone that could get their tyres to
Not
last
us.
was winning a tyre war.
Yes.
Yes. Free Ride won the tyre war for making a comeback. We always
making a comeback, and for us that was our tyre war winner. Internally, externally, I think there was a lot of people in a similar scenario of really knowing what to do. Obviously, Johnny won with Proline. I don't know what combination of what.
slide lock.
There have to be a winner in that respect. I tell you who didn't win the tyre war game, and that is everybody that was in the field. They definitely didn't win the tyre war game, because the general consensus that I had was people were fairly annoyed at it, I guess, really. And obviously, we've covered this before in off-road, in an 8 scale, you go one week and you have one thing, and you go the next week to the same venue and the same track, and it's completely different. Slough used to be like that back in the day. It was no reference at all that it had worked one weekend. I think the expression is current success is past success is no guarantee of future success, and that is absolutely true in 8 scale off-road. So I think with people doing that time and effort at the track and thinking they know what was going on, there was a lot of people that suddenly found that wasn't the case. They turned up to a national, it wasn't what they thought, and it's a disappointing feeling, I suppose, and I think that was shared across quite a lot of the field. So yeah, I think that was a shame. Is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked to a few people about the tyre thing, and for me, if I could put one thing forward, is that we seriously consider having a controlled tyre nationals. I mean, it would
of anyone's. It doesn't matter whose it is.
Yeah,
does it?
Exactly.
Ultimately,
you've got 5 rounds, have 5 different manufacturers of tyre. You pick one. The club picks the best one of that manufacturer or whatever, and that's what everyone uses. Yeah, you can use as many as you want, maybe, or whatever, but that tyre and that compound has to be on your car.
Yeah, tyre compound, rim foam, really make it so it's absolutely locked down. Yeah. I would love that. And as a manufacturer ourselves, quite happy for that not to be us. So that isn't a push, or it wouldn't be a push from our side because we want to try and make everybody run our product. Really, the tyre stuff is a hiding to nowhere in very many ways on a business model. So I think whenever we go and do any of these races, like the Proline Challenge or the Paddy Piston that we've obviously supplied tyres to for quite a long time, any of them, the AKA Challenge, they're great because you could fit your tyres that you're going to need in the glove box of your car rather than taking 15 boxes. And who actually really wants to do that? Like deep down, do you want to take all those different combinations to try and hopefully have the right one?
No,
I know I don't.
It's
as a business and as a person.
And I mean, it's going to more extremes here, but I remember when I first started doing world championships in 10 scale, there was no controlled tyre. And obviously you had no idea what was going to work because you would normally go into a track. You didn't know what the weather was going to be. And you'd have to ship, I remember I was a kid and I went in Masami's rooms and the boxes were to the roof all the way along the wall of the hotel in his room. And then guess what? They used 20 sets of them. And what happened at the end? They threw them in the bin because it was more expensive to get them home.
Wow. See, that's outrageous, isn't it, when you hear that?
Absolutely mad. I'm not saying we do that. Obviously, we take everything out.
No.
But it's still outrageous that sometimes we have to, get every tyre that we know about because we don't know what's going to work. And, for a lot of people in the field, maybe they run a manufacturer where people don't have stock of it there. We try and carry everything, of course. But if you're running for, I don't want to put anyone down, but a tyre company,
whoever,
not got a manufacturer behind them and it's there at the track and you don't have the right one, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly that. That's a big subject. I'm sure it's going to come up more than one time this year as well, heading to some of the tracks that we've seen, some of the things that we've seen at as well. So yeah, let's see how that one plays out. But definitely that was for us, or for me, that was the loser of the weekend. That whole tyre thing across all of the teams, walking through there and people not really knowing what was going on. And let's just take that bit away and have fun. See who's got the best car and who's the best driver, and go racing. I think because the products are all so good now, all of the cars, it doesn't really matter which you go and choose. They all work really well. If you're good enough and you do the right things, you've got a chance of winning with pretty much any of the current crop of cars from manufacturers. The tyre has become so critical. And we've seen it at Nemo Raceway, when we've got the right tyre in Blue Magma, for example, which can be fairly often if it's a well-oiled track, and the sun's not absolutely beaming down on us. We know with a Blue Magma we've probably got the best tyre out of everybody in the field, and with yourself, Leroy, we're probably going to win, and they're the races that we win. We know there's a set of circumstance if that happens that probably won't be the case, regardless of what we want to do or try to do with all of the other products. It's just you're not going to win, and that's hard. That's definitely hard, especially as a consumer. Anyway, let's move on because we could spend all night on that one. How much did my dad spend in Greggs over 2 days? That was from Tim Simpson. Well, Tim, I'm going to go with 40 quid.
I'm going to, being as he went to Greggs, mate, I'm going to go with £7.50 because it's Greggs.
Oh, is it a cheap one? I'm not a Greggs frequenter.
Obviously,
to be fair,
mate.
so
if you spent 40 quid, you could have the field.
You got the shop. Congratulations, you now own Blackpool Greggs.
Yeah, well done.
So you need to give us the right answer, Tim, on the side. After racing is finished, why is it acceptable for the kids to use them as skate parks? So I think that's an interesting question, and I personally don't think it is. Obviously, we've seen it. I've seen it at Nemo. I've done not so much with it because sometimes, believe it or not, I like to just be quiet and not try to be controversial with stuff and just turn a blind eye on it. But I do think that with the amount of effort that goes into prep these tracks, not even just in the track surface, but the piping, the surroundings, all of it. I think they should probably just be used actually for RC cars. And there's a perfectly good field if you've got a football or a bike or a frisbee or whatever you want to do to go and play on. I don't think the track should be used as a playground personally, and I think it can be dangerous for the kids as well. So something that I think that probably needs to be looked at because it's definitely happening a bit more often over the last few races. Leroy, you're a dad of two young lads that would like to run around everywhere. What's your take on that? I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the kids once that liked playing on the track when we were done. And I think as long as it's not doing a harm to the track or it's dangerous, for me, I'm like, cool, because that was one of my fond memories of being able to kind of play on the track almost. But, if it's damaging to the track or it's dangerous what they're doing, then, it's not ideal. But yeah, I like to be kind of,
there's a line, isn't there? And the problem is it's very hard to know where that line is, I suppose, between wanting to have that fun environment and then, also protecting it and them. Ultimately.
It's tough. But I want to see kids and that enjoying themselves, but let's try and do it where it's acceptable to do so, maybe.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. So otherwise, we'll all be getting mini motos and drumping them around the track as well. And that sounds fun. Let's do that.
That used to happen at Ape Scale, didn't it?
I think it did, yeah. But if we could make sure it doesn't happen at Nemo Raceway, any of the other tracks is absolutely fine. I
think it was more around the pits until someone went through a caravan.
It was. That's right, exactly right. And that was put to a stop, wasn't it? But I'd forgotten that. That's a fair point. Good question. One for people not like Leroy and I. We're just mere somethings in that scheme. Do you think there should be a minimum lap time for a national track? I.e., is 31 flat too short? I think 31 flat would be too short. I think for 8th scale and 14 cars, there should probably be, that was easy for me to say, a minimum lap time. I think it should be, I don't know what I think it should be, really. I think we were flirting with it at the weekend with 31s and 32s. I think that's about your limit, I think, for an 8-scale track. I think that's okay for me. I didn't feel overcrowded on the track driving it at any point for me. But I think that is about as short a lap as you'd want to go with an 8-scale. Leroy, what do you think?
Yeah, you say it and it's like, right, if we've got 14 cars and it's like a 33-second lap, there's just going to be over 2 seconds between each car. Which again, it didn't feel crowded. There wasn't many points, where I felt like it was crowded, which I was surprised, because I thought it would feel more crowded than what it was, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be some element of, just common sense with not going to a track that's too small, but Blackpool wasn't one of them. I think it fits in nicely. So it's fine.
For me, that's on the limit. I like it and it's correct, and no issues with it whatsoever. But it wouldn't want to be any smaller than that. I think that's that sort of lap time, that 31, 32 is
and that's not even track size really. They could extend that lap time quite a lot just with layout changes,
which I'm sure we're going to see if we've got all this clay coming in. So it'll be very interesting to see next time we go back there. So that's that one. Do you think the BRCA should provide trophies at each of the nationals for the top 3 in each class? Absolutely, yes, 100%. I don't know why we don't do it. It should be done. If it's a case of money for whatever reason that I wouldn't be able to comprehend, then I think just open it up to get some sponsors. Certainly as Nemo, we'd be interested, or certainly from my side, in sponsoring that. I think it's important to celebrate your winners, and a trophy is how that is done in most scenarios. So it doesn't need to be a crystal glassed plaque. It can be something that's just a few pounds. It's a memento of that event. I think it's something cool when you 10 years down the line and you want to reminisce about what you did or didn't do. I know I've got like a plaque thing from winning many, multiple races in a year, but it's one thing as a national thing. I'd love to have had something to mount up on a wall in your garage or whatever. It's a national series at the end of the day. It's not a club series. We tend to get better stuff at club races than we do at a national 8-scale, which is odd.
Yeah, so when I was younger, you'd basically get a trophy for turning up, but it was cool because I'm sad, obviously, here, but with each one of my trophies as a kid, I stuck a sticker on the bottom and described my day. So
I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool, I've got one upstairs. I got one in the kids' room, and it's like, made the C file, didn't drive so well, blah, 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 blah. But it's just cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can turn them upside down and kind of get a glimpse of how my day was, which people...
I think that's cool. I don't think that's sad. I think that's what it should be.
Maybe I should still do it.
I think you should. Well, I don't know what you're going to describe it on, because you don't get anything.
Well, no, that's it. Yeah. Maybe that was our social media before it was social media.
Yeah, exactly. You were the forerunner to Facebook and everybody's race report that finished.
Now our trophy is just our post on Facebook. So
it is.
Maybe that's what we do. You can have a picture of the trophy. You're only allowed to. We only send it to that person who won it. No one else can use that picture.
I think you should be able to lick it for the photo before you send it back. Obviously, post-COVID, but I think you should be able to lick it. But yeah, I think we should have trophies. We could try and nominate that in as a proposal at an AGM and put it out to whoever, all these other companies that we're all there spending loads of money supporting the series. So a few quid more to do trophies for each one. I think it makes it look great for our section. When you see those reports go up worldwide, I think it's something that clearly is missing, because when you look at America or Europe or any of these other places, almost always they have some sort of a trophy presentation with a trophy.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Let's do it.
If you're in Spain, they normally give them like a leg of lamb or something, ham or serrano ham. They're really cool, like a fruit box.
Or a street. It has a similar value.
I've seen all types of things on Spanish nationals as a trophy. Good.
A leg of lamb. God, that would be good, wouldn't it? Fantastic. Okay, next one. Question. Given 8th is semi-fixed track, does home track advantage eventually even itself out? We did cover that a little bit earlier in what we were talking about. I think it I think it definitely used to. I think in the majority it still does. And then for the elite and the super top guys, they're probably well rehearsed at the tracks and all of the tracks anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go with yeah. I think over a championship that does even itself out.
Yeah, that's true. Johnny Skidmore is online. He says, speaking of trophies, my first place trophy from Nemo never arrived in the post, and that's 100% right because it still needs to be made out of the nice carbon plaque that we have.
It does. It does. If we can actually get our carbon into the country, Johnny, which is fairly challenging at the moment on lots of levels for multiple reasons, not related to Nemo, you will get it, and it'll be worth the wait because it is a beautiful trophy made out of carbon fiber, which I think is probably going to be better than a bit of laminated plastic, which is what they normally are. Yeah. We're trying to do something cool for you, mate. You will get it.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice.
Leroy might have licked it first before he sends it to you. You never know. You never know your luck. Next one. Where are we? Should we introduce a 10-minute timeout for the main final? Feels like we were robbed of a great race on Sunday. I'm not sure who that one was from. So I didn't know that had been taken away. So that's bad observation by me. I thought you could still call that 10 minutes. Apparently that's not the case. It's been missing for a very long time. Which, I mean, I remember actually calling one of them myself, but I think it used to get a little bit abused, which is why it was stopped. I think people used to I've got radio problems, need 10 minutes, and then change tyres, engine, setup, and everything else. So I think that is probably when it was abandoned. And so if it's not in the rules, it's not in the rules. It's as simple as that, isn't it? At the end of the day, you've got to know your rules if you're racing in the series. I thought it was in there. Didn't affect us. It wasn't for us. It was for Elliot this time. As an RC enthusiast, like I said earlier on in the show, I think it's a shame not to have one of your top guys in there. But then ultimately, I guess, drive slower in the practice and don't break it. I guess it's a warm up to get yourself. For me, I always used to treat it with gingerly because I didn't want to have an issue in that warm up period. It's there, I think, in EFRA still, Leroy, isn't it? And IFMAR, you can call a 10-minute, I think.
I mean, yeah,
but I don't
used to be
actually
able to. I don't know. For me, it's a strange one because I'm kind of all for it. But what gets me is if say, for example, on Sunday, Elliot broke and he called 10 minutes. We then get another warm-up and I break. I don't get that chance anymore. So that doesn't seem right. Kind of.
Yeah, because you can't just keep doing it because otherwise we won't start the final for another hour and 40 minutes while everybody calls the same thing.
2 hours.
So,
two.
Yeah.
Over 2 hours. Yeah.
I'm sure it's one of those things that if you're on the wrong end of it, it feels crap, and then for any other time it doesn't really matter. So I think it was shitty luck for Elliot.
Yeah.
Obviously they aimed the rules, so it's as simple as that. He didn't get an opportunity to start that final.
Yeah, shit. But as you say, it is what it is.
Right. At the end of the way, that's the way it goes. Next question. With COVID rules relaxing on the 19th, is that actually still happening? Will racing be back to normal? Appreciate the BRC will need to confirm, but what's everybody's thoughts? Oh, blimey, this is a tricky one, and I've already had issue with this with the BRCA today. Unfortunately, whatever I do, it always attracts some level of pain in the arse. Pardon?
What have you done now?
So obviously, anyone that follows our stuff knows that we were just trying to do as much as we can to help everybody out. So we live streamed our track walk with Lee and Lewis to just help our guys out, help our juniors out, and anybody else that gives a monkeys and wants to watch it. We appreciate that's not going to be very many people, but still we want to try and do it and help out where we can. Because, I think that's important. It's what we've always tried to do with Nemo. And I think, Leroy, you'd posted up a picture of that happening. Obviously, I'm trying to broadcast that live. So I'm filming it and I have my face mask slightly down so that my voice can be projected into what's going on.
How did I get you in trouble?
You did. You got me in trouble. We got me in trouble today with the BRCA. Now,
I even checked everyone had masks
on. So bored. So bored of those people that want to cause that issue. I know that there's some other rumblings going on in the background from certain people not wearing face masks at times in that field. I've made sure, if you're in a glass house, don't throw stones. So I made sure I've got some photos of various people that were also not doing what they should be doing, I suppose, really. So hopefully it will simmer down. But like I said on one of our lives at Nemo, any racer that is making official complaints about anybody doing something, there's something wrong with you. Go and talk to that person themselves and have that chat and make yourself feel better or whatever it might be. I'm not saying we don't follow rules at all. We've tried really hard at Nemo. We've had to because we're under scrutiny all the time from the authorities at Nemo. You will have anyone that's been there known how much of hard work that's been to even try and keep the venue going at times because of the scrutiny that we've got. And I could just go, or we could just go, sod it. It's not worth it. We just use it for ourselves, which it's frustrating. Let's leave it there. It's frustrating. But yeah, you got me in trouble, Leroy. You got me in trouble. So we had to quickly do an edit. I was like, damn that Martin. He should know better. He should know better than the hassle that I've had.
It's funny because I even
getting told off. I was
checked
getting
the
told off.
picture, I'm
I
like,
didn't even see the post.
Yeah, they've all got masks on.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting told off about. Not wearing a mask. What are you going on about? But there we go.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we can go down and pump each other. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't even
There's no problem.
Don't even want to comment.
No comment. No comment. Next one. Should the Nationals be less is more, 2 from 3 to count, or a standalone and bigger dirt style GP? I excuse me. I quite like a flim flam on this one. In a year where it's completely packed out, you think, good God, this is relentless, and it puts no time into the schedule for us to do Dirt GP or Westmill to do their race, or whoever wants to put a special race on, which I think we all enjoy going and doing those because they're serious, but they're still slightly more fun because it's not a national series. So they have a different vibe to them, like the Dirt GP. It's serious. Everybody wants to win it, but it's still just it's a more fun vibe for me than a national. A national can be quite intense. And then when you don't do it for a year, you miss that competition element. You miss, not being in those fields. So I think it's quite hard to get it right. Maybe we could argue that, this year is an exception. We've got, I think I said earlier, is it 7 nationals in 8 weekends or 9 weekends across the series that we try to support, which is the Nitro Buggy, and then obviously the truck and e-buggy as well. We haven't even got SRs to throw into that mix, which we'd always, as a business, try and support as well in other times. It does mean that we're trying to find when we can put our next race on at Nemo, and I think we're going to have to do it on a Saturday because every Sunday until some weird time is taken up with other races. So we're going to try and use that Saturday thing that we spoke about before and put a race on a Saturday. So in that regard, yeah, it would be nice to have slightly less nationals, but I think it's also not great to be like America that have one race. You have bum luck, like for us, we didn't get it right this weekend. That's it. It's done, isn't it? You've got no chance. I don't think I'd be a fan of that. What do you think, Leroy?
I mean, a series always gives you a true winner. Ultimately,
yeah.
I think they need. I don't think it should be 4 from 5. I think it should be 3 from 5 because, you look at this bad luck for myself, Elliot, and Neil, and we're all now having to make the next 4 count, which, in 8 scale, anything can happen. Anything can happen, and it's just a bit tough. I think 3, you'd get a more of a true picture.
Yeah, difficult to excuse me, difficult to know on that. Yeah. It is hard when you've only got one throwaway. Johnny's online watching. We had it with Johnny when he was with us at Nemo before he left. Obviously, we went into that last round at Slough with a very good chance of winning the championship, and then we had a clutch failure where the pin moved forward, and there's no room for movement if you've had another wobble somewhere else, is there? That is it. You like yourself, Neil, Elliot, you're in last chance saloon already.
Yeah.
You know, we've had one race, and you're in last chance saloon. Another wobble, and that's it, done.
And that has
Forget it.
unfortunately happened to me on multiple occasions for some reason.
Yeah.
And,
Got to get your shit back together better, mate. PPP, which won't be PPP with you because I know it's you prep your shit properly.
Yeah.
But
It was funny
tough.
because I was talking to the Don about it on the Sunday. He was like,
Go
"You're
on.
constantly working on your car," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll work as much as I can. I know when I've gone home, if something goes wrong, I've done everything I possibly could." Yeah, that was obviously
That's
a bad
a skill.
omen.
That is definitely a skill.
But yeah, I've done everything.
The irony. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good question. Don't know the answer to that. Maybe 3 from 5 would be better. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't really know. It is what it is because you break down twice and then you still might be sad. So, do you think it's time for a new race referee? Now, I haven't actually written down who that was from.
No,
don't mind. I don't mind speaking my mind on stuff. I don't think it's time for a new race referee. I think it's time to be consistent, or we need another referee. And I realise it's hard to find people to give up their own time. I'm always massively grateful for anybody anywhere that does that. From the BRC, obviously, Sue and Kev Griffin, they've given up almost their life to do this series for us for nothing. So that's pretty awesome. So I think it's shitty to then bang them on the head when something doesn't quite go right and you don't like it yourself. With Mark, I've known Mark a long time, a very, very long time. I've raced Mark. I've seen how he drives. He was an absolute animal. He would be giving himself warnings every 5 minutes. That's my memory of Mark. I'd say that to his face as well, and I have done. And I've spent a long time trying to defend our team against Mark. More often than not, it was Johnny Skidmore, to be fair. He seemed to have a desire to teach him the ways of the world at one point, and I can remember having many conversations with Mark trackside. Like, in fact, at one point I can remember saying to him, "I'm going to put Team Lossy stickers on our cars just so that you don't give us penalties," because it was getting really boring at one point. And I don't mind saying this all live because I'd say it to his face, as I would with anybody with any of the things that I think. So I think he gives up a lot of time. I think he's a very good referee, but I think sometimes, I don't know, like for Kev at the weekend, that ruined his race, and he didn't actually do it. That's not right. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be the case. If you're not 100% sure of it, it shouldn't happen, I don't think. Maybe we need two. Maybe we need two to be watching different ends of the track. Or I don't know. I know it's hard to criticize. I know it's easy to criticize and hard to get it right. So I don't really know what the answer is. The answer is not a new referee, but there's definitely room for improvement because there's too many instances where it's wrong.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
There we go.
My thoughts. My rant. Leroy's saying slightly more politically quiet.
I am
on that one.
Indeed. I mean, I've been on the bad end of calls and stuff like that, but I'd much rather have having raced at some races where the referees are basically non-existent. They're just there, even if they are there, they say nothing. That's worse for me.
Yeah.
Than getting calls.
I agree. But for us as a business, we obviously provide an expensive amount of equipment to someone to go and race it. They go and do that. They're working within the environment they should be, and through no fault of their own, another person of ours doesn't make a main final that should have done. Is that okay? That investment to provide those tyres, that car, the engine, the fuel, and everything for that moment, for someone to just go, actually, no, you're not going to be in it. Is that all right?
Well,
I don't think it is.
It's tough.
Right.
You could say the same about F1 or football or whatever,
And they regularly do.
Yeah.
And they regularly do.
And it's just, there's a call one way or another, and it's always going to disadvantage someone. It's the same as if you got took out and the guy didn't get a penalty. I'm not saying Kev took out sloppy because he didn't, but
yeah,
if you got took out and the guy didn't get a penalty, it's kind of the same thing because the referee didn't.
You know what I've learned? I've learned if something happens that looks remotely odd, just scream as loud as you can.
I'll do that.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward more to Mark doing it, because that is gonna rival any scream that I've heard ever before.
Most definitely.
Yes. So next one, can I afford the tyre bill going to the Shrewsbury National? Yes, you can. Absolutely, no doubt. Get some Blue Weapon and go and have some fun in our range, and in everybody else's. I'm sure they've got something that's going to work all right. But for us, Blue Weapon is good, and I think you're gonna, you'll be okay. And there's a massive caveat that if it rains, then the tyre wear that we've seen at the warm-ups and stuff will be largely washed away. From what I understand, with the Dirt X, it tends to get, excuse me, moved away with the rain. And yeah, we're certainly not short of a drop of rain at irregular times in this country. So who knows? You'll be able to afford it. Have one less Starbucks, and it'll be all right. Are we going to get that tyre video soon? That was the last question that I have, Leroy, and then we'll send it out to you on the side. Are we going to get that tyre video soon? We need to get a tyre video soon.
Yeah, I mean the track's back in a wet condition currently. But yeah, we'll definitely get something going pretty soon. As we know, though, the problem is the conditions change all the time for every tyre, but we'll work something out.
Yeah, definitely. Try and roll through it. I really like the videos that we've done with yourself, where we go out on the track and we show, or try to show it through slow-mo, and like we did with the bump stops and stuff like that. So definitely want to try and do it. It's probably going to need a little bit of expert help from Charlie to really properly capture that, rather than some knobber on an iPhone like myself. But we definitely want to do it. So yes, you will get it soon. So Leroy, I'm going to send it out to you. Don't miss any. Go to the side and find some questions for us, and then we can finish out the show.
We can. So, yeah, I'm going to try and find a question rather than a comment. Homeboy doesn't like the world's being decided over one race. Yeah, but it'd be quite expensive, as the RCGP showed, to send everyone around the world to do a series.
Yes. I think it's one of those things that it would be lovely if that was reality, that the money was there to be able to do that, to make that happen for 20 of the best drivers in the world or whatever. But I think the reality is that we do race radio controlled cars, and it's not going to be able to provide a living for 20 or 30 people to be able to do that. But it would be cool. And if we win the lottery, Homer, we'll go and do it anyway.
Bingo. Ivan says, is the VMAX coming back for the 215T?
No,
it's not coming back.
Sadly not, mate. I'm sorry, but no.
Might be a new 6-mic tyre at some point, though.
Yes. So there's going to be the Magma in the 6-mix range. I hope Seb doesn't mind me announcing that. I've actually asked if that's okay. But yes, there will be a new 6-mix Magma T tyre, which will be superb in the blue compound. That is going to be that's going to be a weapon. Well, it's actually not going to be a weapon. It's going to be a Magma, but it will be good.
It's going to be a fast truck.
It'll be a thing. It will be a thing.
It will. Martin Hart said we need RC VAR. I know you don't really watch football. That's where they watch the TV back to see if it's a foul or not.
Everybody, stop your cars right now on the track while we do a review of this situation.
And Yayan kind of says a similar thing. I think we need a technology enhancement for these races. I really don't think it would be too much of a cost or overhead to enable us to replay his instance to get a correct picture, in my opinion.
Yeah. Good shout.
But while you're replaying this, something else has happened.
Yes. And that was something at a Euros that was implemented, because I had to lodge my 50 quid to try and defend one of our guys, as I always do, regardless. I head into the situation not really knowing what's gone on. I always try and fight our corner for whoever it might be. And I had to give my money to Dallas, who, whatever the lodge process was, which he kept in his pocket, and then they did a video review, and I lost my money. And that was that.
What was that for?
I can't actually remember the full details of it, but I lost my money because I was bum steered by what I was being told by one of our drivers. I did the same at Montpellier as well for one of the German guys. He was like, "It's absolutely crazy. I've been given this penalty, and it's X, Y, and Z." So, see, as you know, I know Frank at Montpellier well, so I was unhappy with that. lodged my unhappiness and then did a review in front of him on a video because they streamed it all, and yeah, looked like a complete muppet. So I've learnt my lesson that people tend to remember things slightly differently than they actually went on.
Yeah, 100%,
in general.
100%. Deep Set Designs. Think.
But I'll always try and get you back if you.
I'm going to start taking people out then. Anyway, think 2 rests would be better, as an area of an 8th track can be quite a large area to cover if you have battles going on each end of the track. Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely that, and that's why for events and stuff like that, they've got 2 referees now, because it is a big, thankless job, which I fully appreciate. It's difficult.
It is. Homeboy RC says stewards, not refs, would be better, i.e. 3 or 4 people watching. It could just get too crazy, though. Imagine them all trying to speak at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
It'd be like us when we've got Rumble on the stream.
Yayan said it doesn't have to be live. It could be post-race penalties, which could obviously work.
Ooh.
And he said, also, John, he's going to be home tomorrow, so drop him a text when you're free.
Wicked.
For a little duty
Welcome
dance.
Home. Yes.
And with that, we're all caught up.
Exactly. We are done. We are done. Well, there we go. That's cool. We're about the right time, Leroy, for one of our streams. We need to close out and say, excuse me, what we're up to apart from coughing this weekend. We are, well, the support truck and stuff's at the next round of the BRCA e-buggy and truck nationals, which is in Kent. Looking forward to getting back down to that track. Not been there for quite some time. It's under new direction, I believe, since the last time I was there. New layout, new everything. So that's going to be an interesting one. We'll be trackside from Saturday AM to help everybody out, bring all the stuff down there and do the practice day. I haven't seen a list to see who is there, but I'm sure it's going to be a competitive meeting again. So that's where we're going to be. Leroy, where are you?
I have the first round of the Schumacher series for Tempscow, which is basically our Tempscow national series. Yeah.
Yes, well, that's true. Isn't it weird that we've got all these nationals in 8 scale across
everything,
all the different classes? And you do not have something in 10th scale. That's poo.
Yeah, so this is our national series. So I'll be hopefully back to my friend Neil again, and Tommy.
That would be good. Is he there? Is he? Yeah, Tommy was impressive at Blackpool as well to do that podium, and he was in a good battle with Will at one point for seconds. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a few fast guys that we haven't seen for like a year in Tempscow, I think. It's a few people's kind of semi-local tracks, so it's going to be very interesting. You know, coming from 2 years ago when myself and Neil were strong, still very strong. I'm hopefully sure we're going to be there or thereabouts again, but I think there's going to be quite a few surprises as well.
I have no doubt that you will be at the sharp end of that one.
Let's hope so.
I'm
a little bit nervous about it. You know, it's been a while since I've raced a Tempscow in anger.
You should crack out the top shelf one, and then you wouldn't need to be nervous.
Yeah. What, the Avanti?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, get the Avanti out and go and destroy them. Yeah, cool. So you're there. Excuse me, you're there. We're down in Kent. Obviously, Nemo Raceway is open if you want to come and have a practice up. We've got the glorious Mr. Truman, Phil Truman, there opening up, and I think he's going to be busy doing some engine run-ins for people that they've got booked in for this weekend and stuff. So that's cool to see. And yeah, we will go and do all those races and have fun. It's over to you for a closeout, Leroy, I think, mate.
I'll give a little closeout. Chris Willits is on the side. He says, I'm at Brookthorpe, first time out with a 319P. So that's good news.
That is cool. I'm really super excited to get to Brookthorpe. I've not been there since it's been dirt. I know you've not been there since it's been dirt. We probably need to get there since it's been dirt, because our competitors have definitely been there since it's been dirt. So yeah, we need to get there.
We need a few days. We
do. We definitely need to get there.
We've got the e-buggy national beforehand as well.
At Brookthorpe, that's cool. That will be helpful.
Yeah, it will be.
That will definitely be helpful. Learn those few tenths that you need to find from all these tracks.
Yes. So yeah, that's cool. Other than that, Homeboy RC says he's going to be there on Sunday, assuming there's still spaces. There should be. Lyndon says, go get him, Chris. And Chris says, cheers, Don. Apart from that, we're all caught up. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching. We really appreciate it. No Rumble tonight, but we still got a good full showing and told you all about our weekend. I hope you all enjoyed watching us. And, yeah, head over to Nemo Racing. Check out all our awesome products. Our 319 kits are back in stock, along with 215s too, which is a damn good truck. So head over, take a look. We'll be back here this time next week to let you know how our weekends went.
We will, and we'll be giving some updates over the national with myself and Mark as well, and we might just let us know how you dominated on the 10th scale stuff as well.
Thanks,
because we still got the tip in. We still got the tip in 10th scale, so we'll be all right.
Just
Good.
The tip.
Just the tip, so no one needs to know. Don't tell anyone.
Cool.
Leroy, thank you very much. Always a pleasure, never a chore, and we will see you very, very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.